For a long time, PC makers have been trying to decide how a personal computer should look. And with Windows 3.1, it appears that they've reached a conclusion. They've decided it should look like a Macintosh. But while Windows has helped to make the IBM-compatible PC look like a Macintosh, independent research has shown that it can't make the PC work like a Macintosh. In an independent study, the Roper organization surveyed Macintosh and Windows users and found that Macintosh was rated significantly higher, both in overall satisfaction and in the amount of work people accomplished. In a second study, Evans Research surveyed people who use both Macintosh and Windows computers, and they came to the same conclusions. They found that people got more done with Macintosh and were more satisfied with Macintosh. In a third study, the consulting firm of Arthur D. Little asked users of Macintosh and Windows computers to perform identical, typical business tasks. Arthur D. Little found that the people using Macintosh got their work done in almost half of the time that it took Windows users. What could make Macintosh better than a PC running Windows when on the surface the two computers look so much alike? Well, this video is going to address that question by comparing Macintosh against PCs running Windows using the criteria that are most important to computer buyers today: price, compatibility, ease of use, applications, expandability, and future capabilities. We'll start our comparison with price.
The Macs are, at worst, price-performance competitive with the cheapest clones. Not only will Macintosh make you more productive, but it will give you more for your dollar.
Let's face it, PC clones have traditionally been cheaper than Macintosh. But now, the price difference is gone, because independent tests show that Macintosh personal computers offer some of the best price-performance deals in the computer industry. That includes the Quadra 605, which is priced like a 486 SX computer running at 25 megahertz, but works up to 16% faster. And the Quadra 650, which surpasses the speed of a 50 megahertz 486 base computer. But Macintosh computers don't just offer a competitive price, they offer a better value, because each Macintosh includes a range of built-in features that most IBM-compatible PCs don't provide. So for example, every Macintosh built today offers advanced sound, because we know how essential sound capabilities will be for the new generation of multimedia applications.
To play inside the story, click over here.
Every Macintosh has a built-in SCSI expansion connector, because we know that people want to add new components and capabilities to their computers quickly and easily. Every Macintosh comes with networking as a standard feature, not an option, because we know that sharing printers and files is an essential part of computing today. Every Macintosh desktop computer has a SuperDrive that can read from and write to IBM-compatible and Macintosh disks, because we know that people who use a Macintosh often need to share data with PC clones. Every Macintosh comes with a friendly tutorial to make sure users can be productive from the moment they set up the computer. And every Macintosh has the ability to use and manage memory automatically, no matter how much memory you install. Now, let's see how much it costs to configure a Windows system with the same set of features. We'll use prices from an inexpensive mail order house for our comparison. We'll add a Sound Blaster card for better sound capabilities, and that'll cost us $75. For networking, we'll use Microsoft's Windows for Workgroups and a networking adapter card, which will run us $229. For file compatibility, we'll need this Mac in DOS for Windows program to read Macintosh floppy diskettes. That's an extra $110. To connect our peripherals easily, we'll need a SCSI adapter for $180. To learn DOS, we should probably add a tutorial for another $30. Plus, we'll add a memory manager, and that's about $60, so we can make sure to take advantage of all of our memory beyond the 640K barrier of DOS. That adds up to an extra $684 to give the Windows PC just some of the same features as the Macintosh. And we haven't even installed any of this extra stuff yet. That's going to take another couple of hours, or an extra $100 or $200 for a computer expert to do it for us. Of course, money isn't the only thing you spend on a computer. You also spend your time. And when you factor in the value of your time over the life of the computer, including setup time, training time, and time to learn new applications, you'll find that Macintosh can save you thousands of dollars over what you'd spend on a PC running Windows. And that just isn't our opinion. That's a fact, documented by Gartner Group, one of the most prestigious research organizations in the industry. Gartner Group found that the 5-year cost of the Macintosh was $4,600 lower than the 5-year cost of a PC running Windows and DOS, and more than $10,000 less than a PC running DOS alone. Let's take a moment and summarize our price comparison. The base price of Macintosh and comparable Windows machines is roughly the same. The Macintosh offers built-in features that would cost hundreds more to add to a PC, plus the Macintosh costs less to own over the life of the machine. So if you're shopping for a computer on the basis of total cost, Macintosh is definitely the best choice.
The only machine that can run DOS, Windows, Unix, and Macintosh software simultaneously is the Macintosh.
A lot of people would like to get the advantages of a Macintosh, but they're concerned that they'll lose compatibility with all the PC clones in the world. But the fact is, Macintosh gives you a wide range of compatibility options. So you can take a disk with information from a DOS or Windows PC, insert it into your Macintosh, work on the files with your Macintosh applications, and then save them in MS-DOS or Windows format for use on PCs. Of course, some people want access to more than just DOS and Windows information. They also want the option to run DOS and Windows applications. Macintosh has an answer for that, too. It's the Apple DOS compatibility card, which adds an Intel 486SX processor to this Macintosh Quadra 610. So it can run Macintosh, DOS, or Windows applications in tandem, and it can even cut and paste data between them all. So while PC clones are compatible with other PC clones, Macintosh is compatible both with Macintosh and PC clones, which means Macintosh is the safest choice you can make.
You're more apt to get flummoxed or lost on a Windows machine than a Macintosh. Inevitably, circumstances arise in which you have to deactivate the friendly Windows interface and wrestle with files like autoexec.bat, config.sys, and system.ini in the cryptic language of DOS.
We've shown that Macintosh is a better value than Windows, and that Macintosh computers are a safe choice because they can run Macintosh, DOS, and Windows applications. But what about ease of use? Doesn't that graphical Windows user interface make the PC just as easy to use as a Macintosh? Well, that's what the PC makers want you to believe. But it takes more than a mouse and icons and windows to truly make a computer easy to use. It takes a unified architecture with the hardware and the operating system software working closely together so people can concentrate on doing their work instead of figuring out how to work the computer. On the Macintosh, both the hardware and the operating system software were designed by Apple, and they were built to work tightly together. So when you put a disk into the Macintosh, the system automatically creates an icon for it on the screen. In the PC world, the hardware and the operating software are made by different companies, so they don't work together like they do on a Macintosh. For instance, when you insert a disk into a Windows machine, nothing happens at all. To see the contents of the diskette, you have to start File Manager in Windows and click on the disk drive icon. When you eject the disk, its directory still stays on the screen, and it stays there even when you've inserted an entirely different diskette. To view the real contents of the disk, you have to use the refresh command. Now, this might sound like a minor point till you've erased a disk with some irreplaceable information because the wrong window was on the screen. When you want to add new utilities to your computer, like type fonts or sounds, Macintosh actually helps you do the job. You just drag the items to the System folder, and Macintosh automatically places each item where it's supposed to be. Windows doesn't do that, so you'll have to install each and every resource for yourself. The Macintosh system software allows you to manipulate files and folders directly, to move multiple documents simultaneously, and to organize them in the way that suits you best, and to place those documents on the desktop where they're easy to reach. Windows simply doesn't duplicate this kind of direct manipulation because it's just a graphical shell that sits on top of DOS. Even though you have files and folders, you can't organize them in a free-form manner because they're locked into that DOS directory tree. Where Macintosh allows you to use long natural file names, Windows limits your file names to 8 characters and a 3-character extension, which means you'll have to use abbreviations that may not be clear later on. Where Macintosh allows you to rename a file by highlighting it and typing your correction, Windows forces you to use a separate command and to type in the name all over again. With Macintosh, you can find a file just by remembering any part of its name. But Windows uses the rules of DOS to locate files. So if you only remember part of a file name, just typing the name won't work. And even though Windows provides a graphical user interface, you still need to know the basics of DOS to accomplish many tasks. For instance, you have to start some programs from DOS or else you get an error message. Even for something as simple as checking the amount of memory available on the computer, Windows throws you back into DOS. You have to use the mem command to see how much memory your computer has. And even then, it's hard to tell which number represents the amount of memory you actually have. And to see how much memory your programs are using, you'll have to use a different command called MSD, which is difficult to interpret as well. Compare this with the Macintosh, which is always graphical no matter what task you're trying to do. To see how much memory your system has, all you have to do is select About This Macintosh, and you'll have a graphic representation of how much memory your system has and exactly how it's being used in one simple step. And if you make a mistake, Macintosh makes it easy to correct. Say, for example, that we accidentally threw away an important file on our Macintosh. To retrieve it, all we have to do is open up the trash can and retrieve the file. But on the PC, there is no trash can, so retrieving a file isn't that easy. To retrieve a deleted file, we have to use a special undelete utility and remember the path name of the file. And if DOS has reused the space occupied by the deleted file, we won't be able to use undelete at all. Macintosh doesn't just help correct your mistakes. It actually prevents mistakes as well. For instance, in Macintosh you can open any document by dragging it onto the application that created it. But let's say you accidentally drag one application on top of another. Macintosh won't allow you to make that mistake. In Windows, however, we can drag our Excel application on top of our Microsoft Word icon and open Excel as an editable document on the screen. One change now, and I would corrupt the entire Excel application. That's one capability that most end users don't need.
It's easy to argue that the Macintosh is the best available tool for many tasks. Much of the time, Macintosh applications and the Macintosh environment are the easier route to faster, better results.
Okay, you might say Macintosh is easier to use than a PC with Windows for basic computing tasks. But when it comes to working with applications, the two machines are pretty much the same. Well, that's wrong on several counts. First, Windows users have to spend time and energy keeping track of their applications, something that Macintosh does automatically. Now let me explain that. On Macintosh, double-clicking a document automatically opens the application that created it, no matter where on your hard disk that application might be. But with Windows, it's not that simple. If you move a Windows application to a different directory, or even rename its directory, the documents created by that application may not launch. To correct the problem, we have to reestablish the link between the document and the application by associating the 3-character file name extension of the document with the new path name to the application. And that's just the beginning. Because now that we've moved the application in File Manager, the application icon in Program Manager won't work anymore. And Windows doesn't tell you what to do next. It just tells you something is wrong. So you'll have to select the Properties command from the File menu, enter the correct command line path name, and then enter the correct working directory path name. And if there were more than one application in the folder that you moved, you'd have to go through the same steps for every application. And if launching an application in Windows sounds complex, try deleting one. You'll have to use File Manager to delete the application files and subdirectories. Use Program Manager to delete the application icon. Then use Notepad to open the win.ini configuration file to delete all references to the application you just deleted. On the Macintosh, by contrast, all you have to do is throw away the application and its files. Macintosh applications aren't just easier to use, they're also more consistent because thousands of Macintosh applications work together in the same natural way using the same menu commands and the same keyboard shortcuts. So once you learned one Macintosh application, you're well on your way to learning all of them. But the developers of Windows software haven't been able to achieve this kind of consistency even among the applications that Microsoft itself creates. Now take something as simple as saving a file using a keyboard command. In Microsoft Excel for Windows, you hit Shift F12. But in Microsoft PowerPoint for Windows, you hit Control S. And in Microsoft Windows Write, there's no shortcut at all. And if you need to remember a different set of keyboard shortcuts for each application you use, how much time and how much effort are you really saving?
If you get a warm feeling holding a screwdriver or typing things like device high equals c:/mouse/sys-r, then adding a disk drive or new program to your PC will be a breeze. If not, lean toward the Mac.
Now that we've seen how Macintosh is easier to use than a Windows PC, let's see what it takes to expand and enhance the two machines. Macintosh is designed to grow with you as your needs increase and as technology advances. So when you connect another device like a disk drive or a scanner or an add-in board, Macintosh recognizes it automatically. For instance, to connect a hard disk to the Macintosh, all we have to do is plug its cable into the SCSI expansion connector and restart the computer. Compare those two simple steps to what it takes on the Windows side to install the Quantum hard card, widely known as the easiest hard disk to install on a PC. First, you might have to configure the dip switches on the hard card to make sure they don't conflict with any other adapters in your computer. Then, open the computer's case, install the card, close the case, boot the computer. Start a text editor program and modify your config.sys file. Insert the disk containing the hard card's device driver into the drive and copy the driver into your root directory. Reboot the computer. Insert the hard card's software disk and run its installation program. Then reboot your PC again. It's ironic that adding a hard disk to a Windows PC is more difficult because generally Windows applications require more disk space than similar applications on Macintosh. Take a moment to compare. Both of these computers have 100 megabyte hard drives, and both have the same applications installed. Yet the PC has only 8 megabytes free on the hard disk, while the Macintosh has 50 megabytes free. Now let's look at another common need, sharing files in a printer with another computer. For instance, you might want to connect your notebook computer to the office network. Now with the Macintosh PowerBook and every Macintosh computer, you have a networking connector and networking software built in. So all you have to do is plug in the cable and you can use the network printer and share files with other users. And what does it take to add a Windows computer to a network? First, you have to remove the case from your computer. Install a separate network interface card, configuring the jumpers or the dip switches if necessary. Then you connect the network interface cable, install network software, and this is a multi-step process that's going to depend on the network software you choose. Start Windows, run Windows Setup, and load the driver for your newly installed network software. So when it comes to expansion, you have a choice. You can do a lot more work with your computer, or you can do a lot more work on your computer.
The Mac remains the real thing. It ought not to be overlooked by corporate buyers who are more interested in real solutions now than in promises for the future.
When you ask computer companies what the computer of the future will do, they say it will understand you when you talk to it, it will talk to you, it will answer your telephone, it will help you work with video, and it will allow video conferencing. Apple agrees, and we are leading the way in these technologies with the Macintosh Quadra 840 AV and Quadra 660 AV. For instance, say you're writing a letter.
Macintosh Helvetica. Macintosh 24 point. Macintosh, print pages 1 to 3. Macintosh, shut down.
Are you sure you want to shut down?
Macintosh, yes.
Goodbye.
So Macintosh provides today what PC companies are promising for tomorrow. But while other companies are trying to catch up to Macintosh, Apple is adding better features to Macintosh, like PowerPC, the next generation of computer processors, which provides faster speeds and even better compatibility with DOS and Windows. In the world of PC clones, the Pentium chip from Intel represents the latest processor. But while the Pentium chip delivers better performance than today's 486 computers, it's based on an architecture that's been used for 15 years. As a result, future increases in speed will be limited by the architecture of the processor itself. The PowerPC, by contrast, is based on the latest computing technology called RISC. An independent research organization says that over the next few years, the PowerPC will offer speeds that are 2 to 4 times faster than Intel's Pentium. PC makers have claimed that some 486 machines will be upgradable to Pentium. But for a number of reasons, including the heat that the Pentium chip generates, even Intel has admitted that some of these so-called upgradable machines won't in fact support Pentium after all. But all these Macintosh systems will definitely be upgradable to Macintosh with PowerPC. And thousands of Macintosh, DOS, and Windows applications will be able to run on Macintosh with PowerPC. So Macintosh is the only computer that you can be sure will give you access to the capabilities of the future without leaving the past behind.
When was the last time you heard somebody say, "I love Windows"? Yet ask almost any Macintosh user about his or her computer, and love is the word you're likely to hear.
Let's take a moment to review the differences we've seen between Macintosh and a PC with Windows. Macintosh is a better value with some of the best price performance in the industry, extra built-in features, and a lower cost over the life of the machine. Macintosh is compatible with the ability to share PC files and run DOS and Windows applications. Macintosh is easier to use with a graphical interface that Windows can't match because of the limitations of DOS. Macintosh has applications that are easier to work with and are more consistent. Macintosh is easier to expand with built-in SCSI connectors and an architecture that makes it easy to add the peripherals and the capabilities you need. And Macintosh provides an easier path to the future with Macintosh based on the PowerPC. And what do all these advantages add up to? That's simple. More satisfied customers. Time after time, in study after study, users say they're more productive with Macintosh than Windows and more satisfied with Macintosh than Windows. And those millions of satisfied customers are the most important proof of the advantages of Macintosh.